Beluga lentils. It's like a caviar of lentils. These are fantastic. Now, these have soaked for 24 hours. That's crucial. All beans, you got to soak them or you will regret it. They won't cook up properly and they will upset your stomach. So what I've done is soaked them, and then I sweat onion and carrot dice, and I added it once the onion and carrot were cooked through. I added in my soaked lentils. I strained them out of the water, obviously, and I added them in and sauteed them a little bit, incorporated them in with the onion and carrot as you see here. And now I'm adding tomatoes, whole tomatoes, and I'm just going to break those up a little bit and incorporate them into the mixture. And this is just water. You could use chicken stock, you could use veal stock, whatever you like. This is cheaper though, and so that's what we're going to go with. We're going to have lots of flavor here anyway. And beans and lentils are said to be the poor man's meat, and they are a staple in many, many cultures throughout the world. Excellent food, but they need to be prepared properly. You have to soak them between 12 and 24 hours depending on what type of bean it is. Here I'm removing the foam from the top. These are all the impurities. This is one thing that beans are notorious for, is there's quite a lot of foam that rises. So as you simmer the beans, skim the foam. You don't want to eat that stuff. Notice how much water I added. I just barely covered them. I kind of maybe covered them by about 50% of their depth, because as this liquid reduces, the lentils are going to cook, and I want everything to be timed sort of perfectly. I don't want the lentils to be cooked through and still have a lot of liquid, because then it's going to be more like a soup, and I'm not serving this as a soup. I'm serving it as proper lentils. Maybe you could serve it with a nice little sauteed chicken breast or squab breast or duck breast or something like that, or just by itself or with some pork. They're really excellent. So I'll continue to stir and skim. Notice how the liquid's reduced now. It's probably reduced by about half, and the lentils are probably about halfway to being completely cooked through. From here on in, it's just going to thicken and thicken and thicken as our lentils cook. Now, on the topic of lentils and nutrition, if you were to eat a diet of lentils or other high quality beans and some whole grains, say brown rice, and a tiny little bit of meat, and you made that your staple diet, it's a fantastically healthy diet, and it's extremely inexpensive because you're not making meat the primary focal point of the dish. You're making meat sort of a secondary player on the plate, and the beans and the whole grains are making up the bulk of the nutrition. It's very, very healthy. They're not expensive, quite inexpensive, in fact. So I highly recommend you learn how to cook beans perfectly, because you'll enjoy them, and cook them often. They're very good for you. So here you see how it's thickened up, and as I pass my spoon, basically there's a little bit of a time lag before the lentils fill up the little dish. They're done. Beautiful, inexpensive. You can't really beat beans for thrift. I mean, the poorest countries in the world eat them, and that's got to be a good indication that they are a very thrifty thing to eat. And they're delicious.